Hey friends, it's bryonato here with a brand new movement tutorial for Titanfall 2 speedrunning in 2019. Wow, I know, crazy. I just wanted to make a new one with some new updated information, better production value, etc, etc. It's going to be time-stamped with each section below in the description. I'm going to say this now so I don't get lazy and forget, and without further ado, here we go. So first thing we're going to want to take care of is key bindings. Now key bindings can be pretty important, but ultimately it's going to come down to comfort. So you're going to navigate over to the control menu under settings. On the left side here, this is going to be for controller, not keyboard. The keyboard key bindings are going to be on the right. A lot of people actually get this confused. So the first thing we're going to do once we navigate to the keyboard bindings is scroll down to crouch, and we are going to unbind toggle crouch and bind the crouch button. And this is actually going to turn on hold the crouch, or when you're holding down the crouch button, you'll be crouching, and when you're not holding it, you're not. It's objectively better than toggle crouching, and I highly recommend using hold the crouch. You're welcome to bind it to left control if you want, though I don't recommend copying my bindings as they're not super optimal, they're just what I'm used to. Most top runners have crouch bound to a mouse button, usually a thumb mouse button, and that seems to work for a lot of people. Again, comfort is going to be what's most important, in my opinion. And then finally, we'll talk about mouse sensitivity. I recommend playing Titanfall 2 on a low mouse sensitivity. I have my DPI set to 800. Anything under 1,000 should usually be good to go. So I'm set to 800 and I have 2.8 in game, and this is pretty high by, I would say, in comparison to most top runners. But I would say at least try something like 1,000 1.5 or 800 2.5 just to get started. Generally speaking, you'll find that even if it's a little bit annoying at first, a lower sensitivity is going to make strafing easier in this game. So let's get to the gameplay. So the most basic movement mechanic in this game is going to be the slide boost. Once you meet a certain speed threshold and you press crouch, you will initiate a slide. This actually gives you a small speed boost, and it'll come off cooldown every about 3 seconds or so. There is what's called the slide boost timer, where if you try to do multiple slides in quick succession, you actually won't get a slide, and the timer won't reset until you wait a full about, again, it's about like 2 to 3 seconds. So from a slide, if you jump as soon as you touch the ground while crouching, you can actually jump indefinitely and retain your speed. This is called a slide hop. This is the most simple variant of a slide hop, just running and jumping in a straight line. It's super important to jump as soon as you hit the ground. That is going to be imperative to maintaining your speed. You don't want to be sliding on the ground for any longer period of time. You want to be jumping instantly. Any time that you're on the ground and not jumping, you're going to be losing speed. The timing threshold for slide hopping is pretty lenient, so you won't lose a ton of speed, but it is, again, extremely important to jump as soon as you touch the ground. That is the basics of slide hopping. And now this will bring us to air strafing. Now, air strafing is one of the things that makes Titanfall such an amazing speed game. If you have played a Source game before, this is going to be very similar. It's going to be almost identical. If you've done CSGO surfing, you're going to be right at home with this. So air strafing is based on the concept that you move faster and go farther by subverting the speed cap that you normally experience when you hold W by holding left and right in the air. So you'll see on my input overlay in the bottom right, I am holding to the left and to the right instead of holding forward. And so ultimately what a mastery of air strafing allows you to do is very simple. It's move in a curve through the air, whether it be around corners or to help traverse a large gap or to get through a narrow hallway. It is extremely important and a very core aspect of speedrunning and moving in this game. So let's start incorporating air strafing into our slide hops. The easiest way to start practicing this and get a feel for holding left and right is just going to be to hold A or hold D and then slide hop in a straight line. This allows you to get a feel for holding left and right while jumping, which at first is going to feel really unintuitive if you haven't done air strafing before, and that's completely normal. The next step here is going to be incorporating mouse movement. So mouse movement when you're air strafing is going to want to be smooth and silky. You're not going to see any really sharp strafes here like you might see in Half-Life 1 or Portal or something. The strafing is going to be generally gradual mouse movements in a slow turn. So just repeat that same mechanical process when you jump and then press left or right, and then just begin a very slow mouse movement to the left or right depending on the direction you want to go. So when it comes to prolonged slide hop strings and getting the best line, you're going to see that the pattern that you move in is going to be a slalom, like you're seeing like this, just left, right, left, right, left, right. A lot of times you'll be moving left, right in the air in one jump, So this is going to be something that definitely comes with experience, but this is going to be the way that you'll be slide hopping through long open areas the majority of the time. This allows you to move in the most straight line while also gaining speed through air strafing. And at this point, you might be wondering when's the best time to transition between left and right or A and D during a slide hop string like this? And the answer to the question is it depends. Sometimes you might find it's best to do it in the apex of your jump. Sometimes you'll be switching between A and D during the brief period when you touch the ground. But ultimately, it just depends. This is something that's really difficult to teach. It's something that you will learn as you play the game a bit more. Something to be wary of during these slide hop strings is going to be a side jump. A side jump is normally an errant side hop that occurs when you double jump while holding A or D in the air. This provides a lot of lateral momentum, which can be useful when you go around corners in certain situations, but more often than not, it's just a mistake, so be careful. And the final bit of hop tech for us to cover is going to be b-hopping. Yes, traditional b-hopping that you normally see in other games. B-hopping occurs when you jump from a standing position, and it's the timing for this is a lot tighter than it is for slide hopping. B-hopping has some benefits in that you can jump higher as you're jumping from a standing position, and it allows you to take corners a bit tighter as well, but the timing for it is a lot harder and requires a lot more practice than traditional slide hopping in my experience. This does have some uses in the speedrun, and it's definitely worth having in your back pocket for when you need to pull it out. And now we can begin on wall mechanics. So wall running in this game actually has a lot of really diverse mechanics that come with it. When you wall run in this game, you will automatically grab onto the wall. You don't have to press a button or anything. But when you grab onto a wall, you cannot grab the same facing surface without an extended delay. However, you can grab the same wall if it's curved, like you see here. We can just kind of dance back and forth between these two points, or really on any curve like this, and you can climb or reset your wall run, whatever you need to do. But normally, you can't do that when the wall is facing the same way. Now what you're about to see here is called a wall bump. Now when you hold crouch when you approach a wall, you will not wall run. However, you will kind of bump the wall and it will reset your double jump. So a wall bump has quite a few uses. It's a pretty versatile movement mechanic that isn't really used super in depth in the speedrun, but it is very helpful and it can lead to some really interesting movement. You don't lose any speed when you do a wall bump, but again it does refresh your double jump. And now we can move on to wall kicks, which are the single most important movement mechanic to this game aside from slide hops. A wall kick is when you jump from a wall within 5 frames or less, and you'll get a speed boost depending on the speed at which you perform the wall kick, how fast it is that you do the jump input after touching the wall. You have a few different windows to it. There's what we refer to as a firstie or a first frame wall kick, a 3-frame window, or a 5-frame window. You're going to get a different amount of speed depending on how fast you do it. If you're any later than that 5-frame window, you might maintain your speed, but you're not going to gain speed. So it's possible to do what looks like a fast wall jump, but it won't actually be what we would define as a wall kick. With a wall kick, you're going to be gaining speed. The trick to this is going to be chaining wall kicks back to back to back to continuously gain speed. It's going to be super important. The basics of a wall kick are that it depends on the angle at which you approach the wall, the direction you're looking when you jump from the wall, and of course the speed at which you jump from the wall itself. When it comes to doing a wall kick, you want to be taking the most smooth angle toward the wall that you can. You don't want to have a really sharp, obtuse angle when you're approaching the wall. It's super important to smooth out that angle using air strafing to kind of smooth that transitional approach to the wall. The direction you're looking will also play a factor, though not as big as the either two I mentioned. While this is almost always situational, you generally speaking want to be looking either straight ahead or away from the wall. It kind of depends on your destination as you leave the wall. You almost never want to be looking at the wall when you wall kick. It's not going to be a deal breaker if you're looking kind of more at the wall than as opposed to in front of you, but you just don't want to be looking at like a 45-degree angle at the wall. It's almost a guarantee that you won't get as much speed generated from the wall kick itself. And one of the most important things to note with this is that wall kicks are going to come with practice. They're not going to be something that you're just good at suddenly. The best way to get good at wall kicks is to do a ton of wall kicks. If you don't get it at first, that's totally fine. Most people don't. It's going to be kind of like air strafing, where as you get better at the game, this is going to be something that you get better at with experience. Now let's move on to edge boosting and end boosting. An edge boost occurs when you jump as you leave the edge of a wall. During these ending frames, when you leave the wall, if you jump during that time period, you will get a speed boost that is similar to a wall kick. And this goes for any surface with a sharp edge on it. It doesn't have to be a really sharp 90-degree angle like you see here. And it's worth noting that there are multiple frames that you can input an edge boost, and generally speaking you want to try to jump at the latest possible frame from an edge boost. So there is a bit of a wide window. It's not super large, but there is a window to edge boost. It's not like a frame perfect thing, and you want to be trying to jump at the latest possible point without just, instantly consuming your double jump. That is edge boosting in a nutshell. And now end boosting, which is similar to edge boosting, but also much different. So in Titanfall 2, you can only grab onto the wall for a certain period of time before the game will push you off. And if you jump during these frames when the game is pushing you from the wall, you will get a speed boost similar to an edge boost, similar to a wall kick. This has a bit less use than an edge boost does, but it is another trick to have in the bag. This does see some use in all helmets, and it actually does see a little bit of use in the kill room skip as well. It is one of the key elements to kill room skip and end boost. And that leads me to how when you try and run on a sharply curved surface like a pipe, the game will try and push you off quickly, and you can take advantage of that like we do in Kill Room Skip by getting an end boost as the game is pushing you off. It's kind of like an edge boost, but it is technically an end boost. And finally, this leads me to talk about the wall jump arc, which is a term that the speedrunning community uses to talk about the most common air strafe pattern in the game following a wall jump. When you do a wall jump or a wall kick, you'll see that the game sends you at an angle diagonally away from the wall. And when you counteract that angle by strafing back toward the wall, you'll find that it is the most efficient way to gain speed from a wall jump and also get good lines coming from a wall jump as well. This allows you to do so many things. Honestly, the wall jump arc is something that you see constantly when inputting a jump from a wall. It's super important to tricks like kill room skip and heatsink skip especially, which we'll demonstrate here. And this is the simplest and most effective form of the wall jump arc. You can see the jump from the wall sends us diagonally away, and we course correct back toward the wall, which gives us the distance we need to make the jump and skip the heatsink room. And that's it, y'all. That is Titanfall Speedrunning Movement 101 by yours truly. I hope this video was informative to you. If there's anything you feel that you need to know more about, or you just have a question about, please feel free to ask in the comments as well. There will be a link to the Titanfall 2 Speedrunning Discord in the description of this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my content. I super recommend following me on Twitch. You'll find a link in the description. I stream there almost daily. And until next time, I'll see you on the frontier.